Hello and welcome to this, the fifth day of the storytelling Decameron. Oh, what such joys of stories that we've had to listen to so far, and I hope you've been listening to them and watching them. And yeah, we've got another 5 days to go. Although, of course, with this wonderful time of the coronavirus, we're going to have plenty of time to tell the stories. And we'll be creating new stories as well. But my name's Janet Dowling. I'm very pleased to be here. Very pleased to tell you that today we are going to have a selection of stories from around the world. There'll be some from just down the road. There'll be some from Ireland and Wales and the Middle East. It goes all over the way. But a lot of the stories that are being told today are universal stories. It really doesn't matter where they come from. They all have that inner message to tell us this is human life and this is how people live and work with each other. So it's April the 1st, it's All Fool's Day, and on April Fool's Day we play tricks. So I'm going to start this day with a trickster story, except it's not quite a trickster. You see, it's King Solomon. Now King Solomon, well, he had his grand palace and people thought him very wise and people were very pleased to be known to be serving the king, none more so than Benaziah. Now Benaziah, let's say he was an advisor to King Solomon. On the one hand, Solomon knew that he could depend upon Benaziah to do a job and get it done and produce things when he was asked them for. And but on the other hand, Benaziah, he would boast about this. He would say, my King Solomon, he knows he can rely upon me. I can do anything he asks me to. I can bring him anything he wants. And King Solomon thought, well, that's all very well, but I'm not sure I really want someone who's quite so boastful working for me. I shall have to teach him a lesson. So he summoned forth and said, Benaziah, what I require is something very precious, something so important, something that would really make me think and the whole world think. Sire, what would you require? Benaziah, bring me something that can make a sad man happy and a happy man sad. And Benaziah said, yes, sire, of course I can do this. And with that, he goes out of the palace, a sad man happy, a happy man sad. What on earth could that be? So he goes down to the marketplace. Oh, the smells of the marketplace, the spices, the aromas, the perfumes. And he's walking through, goes everywhere. And he's asking, do you have something that could make a sad man happy and a happy man sad? And people looked at him and said, I don't think so. It's not something we have in stock. Do you know, he got around the whole of the market. Nobody had any idea what he was talking about. So he went down to the docks, and there were ships coming in from countries from all over the world. And as they stopped, he asked them, excuse me, do you have anything to make a sad man happy and a happy man sad? And they looked at him and shook their heads. No, it's not possible. Not possible. Oh. He was beginning to get a sinking feeling. You know, that sort of, oh, have I just taken on too much? So he went to the other side of the city, and there was the desert, and from the desert across the sands he could see the camels, the caravans coming from the far, far, far east. Surely they must have something. And so as each of them came, he asked them, do you have something that would make a happy man sad and a sad man happy? No. Go away. This is the point when Benaziah suddenly found himself having that really sinking feeling. You know, when you think, oh, goodness heavens me, I've said I can do this, and actually I can't. I don't think I'm going to do this. I'm going to fail my king. My king will see me as a failure. And he sat on the curbside and he put his hands in his head and he could just feel that emptiness sort of emptying out, draining away from him, and it's sort of like a coldness coming over his shoulders, and he felt like he was caving in, and he felt like everything was just coming to an end because he had failed. "What's up, mister?" He looked up, and standing by him was a small boy. "Are you all right, mister? Do you need any help?" He looked at the small boy. "Help? I am not someone who needs help. But you look so sad." And he looked at the boy and he said, "Tell me, lad, do you know what can make a sad man happy and a happy man sad?" And the little boy looked at him. He said, "No, but I'm sure my granddad does. Come with me." And so the boy skipped off and Benazir stood up and thought, well, I've got nothing to lose. Let's go and see what his granddad might have to offer. And the boy led him back through the market, but he took him straight through the market to the other end of the market, the poor end of the market, the end of the market that Benazir did not go to. And as Benazir walked those pavements, walked those streets, and his nose turning up at those smells that he did not like at all. And the boy stopped in front of a shop, and there wasn't a front door as such, as merely sort of cloths and material just hanging down, bits of old sack really, with great big gaping holes in and frayed edges, and it was something he really wouldn't want to touch at all. But the boy dived in and he thought, well, I might as well. So he goes through and then into the darkness. And at the far end of the shop there's an old man. And there's must be a window somewhere because there's a stream of light just on the old man. And he's sitting there and he's polishing something. And the boy runs up to him saying, Granddad, this man needs your help. He's looking for something to make a sad man happy and a happy man sad. And I said, you would know what to do. And the old man looked up. And then he was surprised to see a man like Benazir in his shop. But he didn't hesitate. He picked up one of the brass rings that he had been polishing. And he said, yes, I have the right thing here for you. Just a moment. And he took a needle and he scratched inside the ring 4 words. And then he handed it to Benazir and said, this will make a sad man happy and a happy man sad. And Benazir took the ring. It's a bit cheap and nasty. How could this possibly? He looked at the 4 words. Yes, of course. And he offered the old man some money from his purse, but no, the old man didn't need it. So Benazir came out through that shop, through the market, all the way back into the palace. And there in the palace, there was King Solomon thinking, oh, haven't seen Benazir for days. Oh dear, perhaps I shouldn't try to trick him. Maybe I should have, I don't know, found some way other to teach him a lesson rather than selling off on a fool's errand. Because how can you make a sad man happy and a happy man sad with just one thing? And then he saw Benazir coming through the courtyard and coming up the steps to the palace and walking up and into the palace itself and into the rooms where the king stood. And he thought, I'll just tell him. And he called out, Benazir, don't worry. But Benazir said, Sire, here is what you need. I have brought it for you. And he put it carefully into Solomon's hand. And Solomon was puzzled. But he could see how Benazir was smiling. And then he looked at this ring. Cheap brass thing. Nothing like the fine draperies all around him in the palace. But then he saw those 4 words. This too shall pass. And it occurred to him that in time those fine draperies, they would rot, fall to pieces, holes. They would be frayed too. He himself, even though he was king, there will be a time when he will be just dust. And maybe even this fine building that he'd spent his life, this would be nothing but ruins. A happy man sad indeed. And then in the midst of all those thoughts of despair and things lost, he thought again, and this too shall pass. And in his mind's eye, he could see that whatever ruins was around him, there will be a time when things will be building again and being bright and being beautiful. And that indeed would make a sad man happy. And it was not Benaiah who learned a lesson that day, but the king. And in these days of coronavirus, and in these days of people looking at a desperate present, let's hope we can think and say, well, this too will pass. And when you're feeling sad, may that just give you a hope of happiness. And as in the Decameron, as the people sat round and they listened and they shared the stories are of hope, that whatever difficulties and problems there are around, somehow something will happen, something will change. Hope will come, hope will be there. This too shall pass. Enjoy the stories for the rest of the day. You've got some crackers coming up, and I shall be listening to everyone too. Take care. Bye.